Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Hold My Pen Promcast, booked for Friday. Author review. Unfortunately, tonight we only have one of our authors due to some technical issues, but that's fine. We have one person we can at least question. Maggie, stop. You know us, we have a cat issue. Um,
There's a reason her middle name is Mayhem.
it really
Okay.
is. Really is. My co-host tonight, as you can see, is Izzy. Sticks, well, great with doing our back end, has other things that has to be done right now, so it's me and Izzy tonight with Mr. Spencer Hanks. So we're gonna start it off with me having to refresh the page because somehow my thing didn't operate correctly. And shush, you know how this goes. Anywho, Spencer, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody what you do, what you write.
Hello, I'm Spencer Hickson. I'm an author of urban fantasy novels mainly. I do have a romance web novel. I have some horror short stories and some comedy short stories, but mostly urban fantasy.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh. Hi, I like urban fantasy. Where can we find you?
Well, SpencerHickson.com, it's Hixon. Will have most of my stuff. You can find me on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I'm audiobook and Audible. I'm all over the place.
We know how Izzy loves audio.
That is Izzy's main form of consumption. Not that she doesn't eyeball read or use the Kindle and stuff like that, but mostly it's in the ears, off she goes. And
Playing video
we all
games,
can
mowing the
appreciate that.
lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured, why not record it? I've always wanted to be a voice actor. I've got all the equipment.
So you narrated it yourself.
I narrated it myself, and I do all the audio engineering. I had to teach myself how to do it.
We love that self-taught.
Yes. Yes, hell, we are self-taught when it comes to all of this. And if I do say so myself, I was doing pretty good before Styx came along, but Styx has helped me up my game. So we're very, very appreciative of the TSV, aka Technical Support Viking. Fantastic. All right, Julie, you're the veteran at this.
All right. So, your current novel, why don't you tell us a little bit about it, and then we're gonna jump right into our questions as my cat seemingly jumped over my shoulder.
I have 4 of them. I know what they're like. So my most recent novel is Fate and Fortune. It is about a man who makes a deal with Lady Luck and her sister Destiny to change his fate and reverse his fortune, but later finds out that his fate and his soulmate's fates they're connected, and so she's not going to marry some monster. He has to undo the deal. They say they let him fix things by going back and reliving parts of his life, but every second he spends in the past, he loses one in the future. Just a brief rundown of it.
Interesting concept. I don't think I would have come up with that. Really?
Yeah,
you would have come up with something.
well, I had
And
the idea
again,
of people have wanted to, what if I could go back and do that differently? And I guess the question is, would it have changed anything at all? Would you have made it worse? What if you could just keep going back? But then I was like, but that's cheating. If you can just keep going back, you can live forever. So there has to be a time limit. Everyone only has so much time, and it doesn't matter where in the timeline you are, your personal time keeps going down.
very much so. I can see the concept. Can't wait for that book. Um, the cover is beautiful. I mean, that when I saw it, I was like, okay, just go over here and click this, put this over here. Nobody needs to know I just added another book to my TBR. Uh,
Well, I have the sequel is coming out. Kickstarter for that one will be starting in June, I hope. It's called A Date with Destiny. I think the cover on that one's beautiful too.
oh yes. Actually, it's a
Yep,
date
yep,
or
yep.
a date with Destiny that we have up there.
Oh, all right,
Yep.
yeah, because that's the sequel.
Yeah, because we have
Alright.
that Kickstarter running. By the
Well,
way,
and
anybody, when you see the links running under the page, don't click it. You're just gonna pause the video, but do at the end go highlight it, get the information, go over and support our lovely authors. That's all we ask is go over, check them out, buy the books, read the audio, do the things. Nobody caught the joke.
Ooh. It's an hourglass. Oh,
Mhm.
oh, oh.
Izzy has a
For our regular audience members, they are fully aware that I am obsessed with compasses and hourglasses and all of that old-timey whatever. I actually have 2 hourglasses in this room, 1 in the kitchen, and then I've got compasses all over the place. So it's a thing. Um, ee-
Well, that novel is the first of a trilogy, or it might end up being longer, but it's right now a trilogy. And my first novel, A Sinister Love, is the first of a different trilogy, but they're
oh
in
no
the
no no
same
hold,
universe.
keep it holding up. Keep it holding up. Thank you.
Vanna, White your own books because I don't have them yet.
It's the first of a different trilogy, but in the same universe, and the two trilogies interact. So you don't need to read one to read the other, but you do get more out of it. And so the villain that you see on the cover of Date with Destiny is mentioned in A Sinister Love and comes back in A Sinister Love's sequel.
Damn it. My 1400 TBR just got longer. It's fine, Quintana.
Yes. All right. Izzy, do you want to ask the first question, or do you want me to just keep it rolling?
I can certainly do it. I've got a good question because, as we can already see, I rabbit hole. I spin out. What rabbit hole will completely derail your writing sessions?
So I have ADHD. And I have a feeling you both have ADHD, am I right?
I'm
One of us is
diagnosed,
diagnosed.
but after 30 some years of being diagnosed, I'm pretty sure she is. So, yeah.
When you mentioned that you were both late earlier, I was like, okay, yeah, that's one of the symptoms. I have researched it thoroughly because it took me 13 years to publish my first book. And the only reason it happened is because I got my ADHD under control. After that, it took me a year to publish my second book, my third book, another year. It's coming up. Actually, I now have a web novel that's up that we put up this year. It took me a month to write. I've got a second one that's going to be done. I'm halfway through it. So I've done the spin out already. I think I'm done with the spin out.
There you go. There you go. You still occasionally find yourself, hitting one of those rabbit holes and then having to tear yourself out of it.
Not as much. The medicine does help. I also have a hyper focus. So if it's something I'm really into, I just keep going. Don't want to stop. But I also have. So my father passed from Lewy body dementia, and everyone in his family passed from it as well. So there's a, I don't know, 50% chance that I'm going to get it. So I'm basically looking at 30 to 40 years, and I really want to get these things out before it's too late.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment. Absolutely.
Very, very much so. All right. I'm going to lead off with my normal first question. What have you researched that probably has you on a watch list?
Ooh. So
See, we
I
have this.
exactly.
That's why I
Uh,
didn't ask that one because I was going to, but I know that's her favorite.
I'm a writer. I like to put psychological things into my books. They all have a psychological profile, and so I've had to research how do you, and you have to word this very, very wrong. How would I manipulate someone into doing a certain thing? Because the villain in the second book in Fate and Fortune is a narcissist, and so I had to start figuring out how to think like a narcissist. So that's one of the things is all these absolutely terrible searches on how to manipulate people. Uh, yeah, that's probably the worst one.
Well, you know what, Sticks? I might have gotten a little miffed about you stealing it, but you got miffeder when I stole yours.
I'm not even watching the chat right this moment, but I know.
Okay.
So,
Is
so piggybacking off of that, what one fact did you come across during that research that you wish you could unlearn?
Um, Possibly how common it is, how difficult it is to deal with someone who has it, how many lives they destroy. Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is not fun at all.
there are certain ways that they manipulate people, and one of them is a sexual way. And so I really not fond of that.
Right.
Preaching to
Okay.
the choir, my brother.
Yeah, you're like those of us who've lived through it, survived it. It, it it's one of those things. It's like, yep, that it's more common than anybody gives it credit for.
Well, then hopefully you'll actually like the book because I hope I did my due diligence writing the character correctly. um, I call myself a method writer instead of a method actor, so I get in the head of every single character, uh, and that helps me a lot. I have hyperphantasia, so I can do it pretty naturally. Um, but I really hated writing that character.
That was going to lead into my question. Which character did you write that you absolutely cannot stand?
Hunter Pace. I Of all my characters, I can find some redeeming quality. He has one slightly redeeming quality, and that's just that he was raised by another narcissist.
Yeah, yes. Also,
He was he was doomed.
also one of the things for the show is no spoilers. So if your answer is going to contain a spoiler,
Oh, it's not a
just say-
spoiler.
yeah, okay.
No.
Because that's one thing that Sticks is like, hey, no spoilers. Like, don't worry, it's probably no spoiler.
Yeah, that's not a spoiler.
Which character did you love to write, or you wish that you could have written more of?
In Fate and Fortune, I very much like writing Lady Luck. She is playful, a little bit seductive. She likes games. She's not a human, so she doesn't think the way humans think. So that also makes her slightly dangerous. But that just makes it more fun to write.
Interesting, very, very interesting.
I also really liked writing in my first book. Her name is Surly. It is the digital assistant to the demon that's supposed to be tempting someone, and it's Surly instead of Siri. So she was really fun to write. A little sarcastic, snarky phone.
I mean, I can see it. We have one of our prompters has a bot of sorts, named Void, and that is one of the Izzy's favorite characters on a Saturday night to have. because
I love
Void
Void.
is very deadpan.
Okay, yeah,
Getting me
yeah.
to practice those almost the animatronic or the computer voices, uh, because I read out our prompter submissions cold.
Hmm.
I don't read them ahead of time or anything, and so coming up with those voices on the spot has been really fun for me. But Void is one of those where it's like, I have to remember not to put emotion in. It's, like,
On the
really hard.
third book, the one on the cover is my favorite character. Her name is Firemange. Uh, I gave all of my demons a flaw, and hers is basically ADHD.
I don't
Very
know.
fun to write.
You call it a flaw, I call it a superpower. It's the same thing.
I
Well,
it's
it's a flaw in the fact that she takes the bad aspects of it, so she wants to have fun no matter who it hurts.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. That makes a whole lot
she's a
more sense.
demon.
Well, demons can be playful. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, she's definitely playful. It's fun.
okay, is it your question?
catching up. Actually, Bitzer had a question in the side there. Actually, the author of Void, um, not the main character, but if, what brand of urban fantasy do you write? Would you call it hidden magic world, real life but magic, or here there be actual dragons?
I believe the technical term is magical realism. So it's real world and there's magic involved, but it's mostly real world. And that would be definitely my novels. Um, the web novel that I'm currently working on is an isekai slash reverse isekai. Uh, that term you might not know.
I was about to say, for those of us who do not understand that,
An isekai
Sorry.
is when a person is taken out of our world and put into a fantasy world. Think of The Wizard of Oz. A reverse isekai is the other way around. So think of The Last Action Hero. There aren't very many examples of reverse isekai in Western culture. But in this one, the guy goes to the world, comes back, and the villain follows him back. So that one has a lot of heavy magic on the fantasy side and not a lot of heavy magic on the earth side.
Oh, there we go. I do like the ones where it flip flops, where you've got one going one direction and one going the other. I actually read a book once where I read the second book in the series, not realizing that it was, and it was actually somebody from Jane Austen's era
Hmm.
waking up in the body of a modern woman. And then I went back and found out that the first one was that modern woman who was a Jane
Nice.
Austen nut job, uh, going back and waking up in that era.
I
So
like it.
that and to watch that author's description of somebody from Jane Austen's time waking up and finding out about television sets, airplanes in the sky, like, to put that it was really well done. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, in
Absolutely.
mine, it's not a spoiler or anything, but there's one scene really early on where he is with one of the characters in this fantasy world, and he says that this is a fantasy world, and they're like, "Yours is a fantasy world. You say you have flying machines and screens that tell you stuff," and you're right, we are in the fantasy world.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, she goes and handles, the Munchkin. Um, other than the narcissism that you had previously mentioned, what topic did you become weirdly overqualified in as you were writing this book?
Oh, ADHD is for one of them. Um, I had to do a lot of research, and I'd already done a bunch of research. So, in order to write a character who is a personification of it, I had to do more research. I also have a character in there who has autism, so having to do research on that one. So neurodivergence. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
authors are
that's
just bundles of knowledge.
who we really are. Yeah, a lot of people like, I'll just sit there and I'll look at somebody and I go, "Have you ever considered maybe going to the doctor and talking with them about, possibly having ADHD?" And they're like, "No, why would you say such a thing?" And I'm like, "Look, I was diagnosed in 1993. So I've seen all the different things, things that people think that I should do because I have this label, but it's a spectrum, just like autism, and so trying to find, yeah, the things that are ADHD markers as a,
Yeah.
and that to personify that. I'm looking forward to this one.
I have a fun story there. So I was diagnosed in 1986, uh, and we were one of the first ones diagnosed. When I say we, I mean me and my identical twin brother. So I have an identical twin, and I was put on this really strange diet. He was not. And many years later, I realized, oh crap, he was the control, and I was the experiment.
Oh, oh. Yeah,
And
it's
then I
very
do,
strange when we're one of the first,
mhm,
right? I
I
was
do the
one of the
research.
first in my area, and so it's like, when the teachers were coming to me because they were aware of my diagnosis, because the medication was a controlled substance, et
Oh
cetera, right?
gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I had teachers coming up to me and going, "Could you spend some time with the student and tell us if you think he is?" Like, I'm 13. Why? Go have a conversation with their parent and, and tell them to take them to the doctor. Here's a really good one.
Yeah, my
All right,
piano
Julie, you're
teacher.
up.
Oh,
Oh, no, piano
Okay.
teacher. Hold on.
oh,
I played piano for 5 years. I got to hear this.
well, I'm actually a guitarist. My kid's piano teacher adopted a child who had ADHD and asked me about it, and I wrote like a 3-volume email telling them everything about it.
Become experts in our own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when Izzy did that to me. I'm sitting there and I'm bouncing, and I was across the room. I was still over there, and my camera kept bouncing. We were on TikTok still, and Izzy's like, "Julie," no, what? And she's like, "Foot." So I back up because my feet are hitting. That's the old bar area. This used to be the dining room. So this is the old bar area. So I'm my feet are hitting the cabinets. So I just back up so it's less noticeable. And then she's like, "How many Red Bulls have you had today?" I said, "This is the only one." She's like, "Go drink another one." I go
Fun,
drink about half the next one. She's like, "Nope, finish it." I
fun
slammed my
fact:
foot.
caffeine has a weird and different effect on those of us with ADHD, or some
Yeah.
people prefer ADD. But
So we process stimulants differently up to a point, but
Mhm.
then they actually start to be a stimulant again. So don't overdo it because that's bad.
Yes, facts. That there we have a phrase around here. Are you coffeeed out? Yep.
Okay, we
All
do
right,
have a
Julie, you got another one, or you hitting Stixes?
I'm gonna get Styx's question from the audience. By the way, audience, start throwing up questions. We can keep everybody going. Styx's question is: do your characters always drive your research, or have you had characters born from from random research?
Oh, that's a good question. They usually drive the research. I don't think I've had in my short stories, I have had some characters that were born from research because that's where I go, "Oh, this is interesting," and then I get an idea for a short story, and then it happens. Um, but usually with a novel, it's just so much more involved that I can't just unless it's a very minor character, I can't just throw the character in there and expect him to, be any good. I do too much research into that character. But for short stories, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. My other question is, do you have a ritual? Yes, I'm borrowing this one from Stex. This was the playoff from last week. Do you have a ritual when you sit down to start your writing, getting in the zone?
I used to. I would listen to thunderstorm sounds because any music was just too engaging, and just plain rainstorms was too boring. But when I'm hyper focusing, and I've been doing that all year, I just sit down and start writing.
That's an often question that we hear other amateur shows asking. Like, if you listen to music, and if you do, does it, lyrics or no lyrics whatsoever?
No lyrics
And
whatsoever.
yeah,
I would
I'm
listen
the
to
same way.
soundtracks. My favorite one was Gladiator, but then I found myself going, boom, boom, ba-da-dum, da-da-da. I'm like, wait, no, I gotta write.
Oh, I used to use Kingdom of Heaven. That soundtrack was pretty helpful, especially to relax. But then there was one song where I caught myself starting to sing the female warbles and whatnot. I was like, nope, done. Another one is the Highlander. I have Highlander 1, 2, and 3 original soundtrack on a CD, and I will
Wow.
throw that in. And that's a pretty good one until we get to Who Wants to Live Forever, and then I'm done.
Well, Queen, I mean.
I mean, Queen. Absolutely.
Sometimes Last of the Mohicans.
That would be a good one too.
Yeah, it's actually very repetitive soundtrack. So
it is. But I also think we're really showing our age right now.
I
So
know.
moving on.
When I say
Moving
Gladiator,
on.
I do mean the original Gladiator.
Right. Well, I mean that was even at the height, or like that movie is where Russell Crowe became a household name.
Yeah.
So we're like, that's
And-
taking it back some decades. Okay, so that being said, we're talking about, characters and whatnot. Which character out of the books that you've written and your web and do you trust the least to represent your work if they were here doing the interview instead of you?
Oh, that is a tough one. I don't really know. It would probably be in my romance. There's a character named Ben, and I think he would probably be it. The character is avoidant, highly avoidant, and so for part of it, he's avoiding. And so he's not really doing as much as the other characters. He becomes a bigger character later. So I think in that respect, there's less of him. So there was less research, less putting me into it.
And be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't look at me. I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody's
I've never
gonna
been asked
fight you,
that.
Bitzer. I come up with unhinged shit. But Bitzer in the comments said, Freddie Mercury was a siren. Fight me. I'm like, nobody's fighting you on that.
Who would win, Freddie Mercury or Michael Jackson?
No, I can't.
Okay, what was the question?
Who would win, Freddie Mercury or Michael Jackson?
Well, Michael Jackson's going to come up with that leg and do the twist, and then hit him in the face.
Yeah,
and then
but Freddie Mercury's
just gonna
he's got that
he's got the mic stand.
The mic stand, yeah.
But that's the whole thing. He's going to lean back, pull a Matrix, come up with the mic stand, and about that time, Michael is going to moonwalk around him, and it's just going to be a back and forth for like 20 minutes while they're literally shooting lyrics at each other.
Yeah, that's why
I'm
I said
there for
I
it.
can't. That's a draw.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
a
draw.
draw. That's going to be an entertaining draw, but it's still a draw.
And it might even be an 8-hour draw because both of those could go for hours
yeah,
and
that's true.
hours and hours before they dropped.
Right.
So
The drugs helped.
yeah.
I'm sure.
I mean, we don't advocate that either.
Nope.
Sorry, the comments are as usual unhinged. Sticks. I would have just picked a dead character. They can't answer questions. Bitzer's coming back with Freddie would win because Michael Jackson was a twig. His Sticks goes, one of them is a werewolf. How is it a contest? And Freddie would win, and Bitzer, Freddie would win song duel, no question. I mean, okay.
We're just going to have to all agree to disagree on that.
We really
Because
are.
while I love Freddie Fender, I also love Michael Jackson. And in the process, I'm not getting in the middle. I will stand there with a bag of popcorn and make sure nobody actually gets hurt. That's what I'm gonna do. Like, all right, enough. You to your corner. You moonwalk your ass back into the other room. Like, I'm not dealing with y'all. All right. Next question. If you had to set up a love scene that was not with your main two characters, who would be the other two?
All right.
Or who would you like to see maybe in a web novel or something like? Who would you like to see get together that just can't seem to do what they need to be doing?
Oh, in the first book, it would be Rotworm and Raguel. And that, yeah, definitely. In the Fate and Fortune, it would probably be Naomi and yeah, one of the side characters. It'd be hard. Yeah, that's a good question.
Now it makes you think. It's like, okay, well, if that wasn't about them, who else would it have been about?
Yeah.
So you get that duology of the you're lucky it was you, because these two over here I would have had to smack her in.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I do have all of those immortal beings in Fate and Fortune. So it'd be kind of fun to see them mingling a little bit. Lady Luck particularly, but Destiny would be pretty fun to see with someone. Like maybe Destiny and Kronos would be fun.
We got a question from the comments. Kesh asks, what is your favorite mystical beast slash
what?
slash race?
I am kind of fond of dragons, but I invented one in my third book with Destiny, a Griffahip. It's the opposite of a hippogriff. Yeah, so it has a horse head. It'd be fun. Favorite? I don't think I have a specific favorite. It's probably going to end up being like a Dragonborn, something like that.
Dragons are cool. Everybody loves a dragon.
Everybody loves a dragon.
Built-in drama with it.
Oh my god! The more I have not read a whole lot of Dragon. I will be the first one to admit that. when I came into the shifter world, it was werewolf. So I am looking for something that is dragon, that isn't just straight up like taking the girl, running with the girl, fall in love with the girl. Like I'm looking for something that has a decent plot.
I have one that I've outlined. It's on the list of things to do. I only have so much time. Where there's the main character is a dragon, but you don't know it, and so I can't tell you the name of it because then you wouldn't know which one it is.
And that's fair. Yeah, no spoilers. We
No
established that. Yes, Cash, dragons are awesome. Yes. Sorry, Cash has been my best friend for nearly 3 decades. So, like, I know her as almost as well as I know myself, and then I get shocked when she knows me almost as well too. All right, you got another one, Julie?
No, it's your question. I just asked the last one.
My turn. Okay. Let's see here. What writing advice do you ignore completely and fly in the face of?
I have done a lot of research into this as well.
See, that's the great thing about no, we don't give you questions. We are chaos incarnate. But at the same time, you're like, oh no, that's a logical question. Like, I got this.
Oh yeah, I've actually taught people this, and I'm planning on putting some videos online about this kind of thing. The one that I ignore is when you edit, the book gets smaller. No, sometimes it will, sometimes it gets longer. When you edit, the book gets better. That's the only thing. Don't care about the size. As long as it's getting to the right size for its genre, screw the rest. Don't try to make it smaller. Try to make it better. Sometimes that means cutting things out. For me, usually it means adding things because I usually just make a skeleton and I need to add some stuff to it.
Okay. I like it. How many times do I tell you, Julie? It takes as many words as it takes to tell the goddamn story.
Right. And that's the reason that in the edit, the rewrite, after we found out that Destined for More, which is my first book, we found out that it had been tampered with. Not just pirated, but it had been tampered with.
Oh, wow.
I have been pirated 24 times.
I've been
We've
pirated
got
as
a
well.
record. At this point, when people tell me it showed up somewhere, I'm like, just send me the things and the screenshots, and
I
send
can't
it
do
over.
anything about it. They put up a Pirate Bay, and there's no way to get them to take it down.
Oh, no. There is. It's called a cease and desist and a
No,
threatening.
I tried. If cease and desist, and all you get back, well, if you can find anyone to email, because they don't list an email address, and they're like, "Oh, well, we're in Sweden. We're better than you. We don't care."
Well, here's the
And that
lovely
is Pirate Bay. Pirate
that
Bay
is
is a
Pirate
different
Bay.
thing entirely.
But the whole thing is mine is bounced all over Indonesia. And
Interesting.
it literally takes PA Power, Patrick, my son's godfather, the other of the trio when it comes to me and Izzy. It literally takes him less than 24 hours and he's got my book.
Wow.
Because not only are they got me coming after him, he's the cover artist, and they fucked with the cover.
Oh.
So we're coming at them from 2 different angles, and in that process, they don't want the heat, they don't want the smoke, so they bring it down real quick.
You're
There's
gonna
only
have to
been one that we have not been able to get down.
you got to email me how you do the research for that stuff.
Google Foo right there above me. Stick around in the server. We'll figure it out. But anyway, next question. If you can live one day in any of the books that you've either read or written, which one would it be?
I think I might want to live one day in the web novel I'm working on right now, in Morancia, the fantasy world. It'd be interesting. I do I like doing research. So it's not a light, oh, there are dwarves. I'm like, okay, the dwarves have this very specific type of government, and this is their economy, and and I go through all these things.
I do the same thing, and then Izzy's like, "Will you just write it?" No, I need to know this first.
Half of our writing sprints have been planning as opposed to actually writing.
Yeah, pre-writing is a big thing.
Yeah.
Well, especially since Izzy started writing, I that's why I have you above me so I can. Um, Izzy started a novel last year within one of our prompts, and she kept going, and then I this year right after our anonymous January, I immediately just threw something out there like it's gonna stick. I don't care. There it is. And we realized with one phrase in the 350, 400 words I had submitted that they're in the same world. Never mentioned, but they're in the same world. And a
That
lot of the
happened.
questions Izzy had that were not answered in her book, I had the answers for. And a lot of the answers that I needed to write mine was being answered. So we were like, all right, this is what we're going to do. You're going to write yours. I'm going to write mine. This is what we're going to do. And then we're going to come together and we're going to write a prequel and fuck everybody.
Well, when I was writing A Sinister Love, I intended it to, have some stories in this universe. I started to write Fate and Fortune and realized, oh, they're in the same universe. And so many things came out of that. It's just, yeah.
Aha moments.
Constraints force you to be creative, and that can just make things blossom.
Oh yeah. Because now this one is freaking plotting a book, and she keeps yelling at me, going, "This is all your fault." Because she's not a plotter; she's a pantser, and I'm more of a quilter because I'll write a scene, and then I'm like, okay, where does this go? And then I like quilt them together, and I might think that it happens here in the novel, but it actually happens here. And so my scenes are constantly doing this, and then I stitch them all together. But this particular co-authoring thing that we're doing, I've actually got a full ass outline. And now I just have to write the scenes. And so because I've got all these things planned out, this one over here is sitting here going, damn it.
Izzy, you want to catch the comments?
Yeah. Let's see here. Sticks. Okay. Sticks. Chaos Incarnate. Your next book has to include one of the following scenes. Which do you choose? A highly detailed cooking eating scene or a highly detailed secondhand embarrassment scene?
Why not make them both the same scene?
Oh!
Oh! Bravo! Bravo!
By the way, I'm neither a plotzer nor a pantser any longer. I do goalposts. So I know what has to go in and what has to come out, how it gets there. The characters decide, and then I move to the next goalpost.
That's, yeah, I have heard that's a
It's a relatively new system of doing it, but it works pretty well for me.
yeah. Yeah, I think I've heard other people like describe that that's how they write because they didn't have a word for it, and I think goalpost has now become the new word for it. So
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, milestones. That's called plancing.
Dancing.
Plancing. Okay. Okay. All right. Is it my turn or your turn?
Well, did you get Froggy's question?
Oh, Foggy. I'm not sure I understand. What's
Okay,
the
what is
biggest
the biggest final draft you have ever come up with? Like the longest one.
change made? I think it. What's the biggest final draft change you made?
Oh, the final draft change I made. Oh, in Fate and Fortune, well, I had to humanize the villain character, and that ended up adding a whole new scene that wasn't intended to be in there, which required me to rewrite how certain things were happening, which required me to change around a few things, and it ended up being a much larger endeavor than I had expected it to be, but it made the book better.
That's the key point. Always gotta make it better.
The problem with writing a narcissist is they are not stereotype. What's the word? They're so just plainly
Charming.
evil. Was that? Not sure.
Charming,
No, like one
charismatic.
dimensional. A character, they're evil, like almost ridiculously evil, to the point where it's not realistic, but it is realistic. And so you have to kind of figure out how to make that character not one
You gotta have that
dimensional.
fine point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that now that you say that, I'm sitting here thinking about Mr. Red Flag in my past and going, you know, yeah, he was pretty one-dimensional. Why
Well,
didn't I see that coming?
one of the reasons I wrote the book, I wanted to show people what the red flags are for someone who's narcissist and how to deal with it. And so I put that stuff in there.
Yeah, I think in the last 4 years, as a writing group, we've all been like hanging out together in various different servers and whatnot, and it's just been, somebody will say something, and suddenly I'm like, ding. Okay, wait a minute here. What did he just say, or what did she just say? And it's like, I'm glad that you didn't have to go through it, that you could research it from an objective standpoint and not have to live it. Because I don't
Uh,
wish it on anybody.
yeah, no, I would
But
not wish it on anyone.
to
I've
to
had to deal with
to
other
know
things.
that, right, but to know
Yeah,
that people are now starting to research and understand things that aren't in their own, and it's not just authors. There are other people who are actually making it their business to understand so that they can see the signs, because maybe they had a loved one or they saw something that just didn't seem right. And, gone are the days of, well, that's not my business.
yeah.
So it's really good.
I am going to be writing one that's going to be creative nonfiction, and one of the characters in it has OCPD, obsessive compulsive personality disorder, which it's not as bad as narcissism, but still. Obsessive compulsive disorder is you have a thing that you must do. You know it's stupid, but you have to do it because that's what makes you feel good. Obsessive compulsive personality disorder is this is a thing that must happen. I'm the only person who can do this, and it has to happen, and you can't bother with it. And so it's approaching it from a different angle. Yeah.
Putting that on my research list.
The DSM-5 is still working on those kinds of things. That's the standard for psychologists.
Yes. Yeah, we have somebody who did take quite a few courses, and that was, and
I'm
so
considering it.
they're constantly dropping the whatever that acronym is that I can never remember. Look, I can
DSM-5.
rattle, yeah, that thing. I can rattle off MDCR, and people are looking at me like, "What the fuck is MDCR?" And I'm like, Mountain Dew Code Red. Like, that one I can do, and people are like, "I don't think that's a thing," and I'm like, "It is, because I've been saying MDCR since it came out." So, because who wants to type out Mountain Dew Code Red? And you can't just say Code Red, because then people are like, "Wait, what? Where?" Like, Code Red, Code Red. So, why are things about to get really unhinged, Kesh? Oh, we have not lost Izzy. Is it my turn or your turn, Julie? These...
We got a question in the comments that I was...
Sticks. Which of your characters is most likely to take a sharp left turn mid-story? And would you wrangle them back or follow the wild goose?
Fire Mage might be the one. And I would probably let her go for a bit and eventually ring her in, but not like completely. Oh. Hello.
That's Kesh.
There's a Kesh. That's why she said in the comments things are about to get really unhinged. My bad. Sorry, he was in the middle of answering a question. My bad. Oh,
That's all right. Yeah, Fire Mage probably. I mean, she's ADHD.
Well, it's like, have you ever had to put a tracker on one of your characters because they wandered off and you forgot where you put them?
Yes. So the one I'm currently writing, this isekai, reverse isekai, does this interesting, very challenging but fun thing where it starts off where he's already come back from the fantasy world and he's been there for a week, and then he finds the villain, and then it goes all the way back to the start, and we have some chapters there, and then it comes back to this one, and so it keeps doing this catch-up mechanic. I use something called DPDR, depersonalization, derealization, as a transition between the two, but it's really easy to forget what happened in one of the timelines and go back and like, okay, did I even give that character a last name? I don't remember.
Oh God, the amount of times that me and Izzy have done that. I will literally, okay, we were working on Destined for More. I was doing the very first rewrite on it. I literally put in a chat, hey, did I ever name this character's dad? Did I name this character's mom? Mind you, they are not mentioned in this. Well, the mom is mentioned in the story, but she passes away. I never mention the dad. I don't mention why the dad's not there. I now have to go back and put that information in. Not in that book, but in the subsequent novella. So believe me, I understand. It's like when you throw things into a comment, go, did I name that character? Didn't I name that character? Wait a minute. Did I eat?
Oh, that one happens. Oh, yeah. Just today, I was writing a scene and realized, wait a minute, he's been moving out. There should be boxes everywhere. And I go back like 12 chapters ago, crap! I forgot to do this. So I had to rewrite all these chapters to include this stuff.
Okay.
Six apparently did want to clarify that sharp left as a deliberate departure from established narrative, not necessarily distracted roaming.
Again, it will still be Fire Mage. She
like
is
Fire Mage.
I like playing her, writing her, because it's not just distracted wandering. She's somewhat unpredictable in her goals, which change, and in that story, it's actually very hard to figure out what her real goal is, and so I had a lot of fun with that too. Yeah. The other one would be Lucifer. The problem with Lucifer is he's the most intelligent being in creation, and I am not. So how do you write someone who's massively more intelligent than you? And
well,
I figure out ways
on where you're standing, when you're standing.
Well, the ability to predict books that have not yet come means he is very intelligent, but that also means that finding out what his goal is, he's got so many different ones so that he doesn't ever lose. I think there's a trope for it. It's from Gargoyle, the villain. I can't remember his name. Xavier, I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he wins or loses; he still wins.
Styx gave some advice. Be super vague and let the reader fill in the blank. Same as writing an oracle. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah,
Bitzer asked,
yeah.
do you have a favorite trope?
Ooh. There's just so many tropes. I mean, everything's a trope.
Everything.
Well, that's actually the use of tropes is almost nothing that you can write is really new. And so you can go through, and if you understand how the trope works, you can find out what doesn't work. But you can also then take that and make it work again. But my favorite trope is lamp shading. Lamp shading. Do you know what this one is? Okay.
No, I don't.
So something fantastic and absolutely coincidental happens. You're like, that does not make any sense. And then one of the characters turns to the other one and goes, well, that was convenient.
That happens a lot in my books.
You can sometimes get a little breaking the fourth wall. But by lampshading it, you're acknowledging to the reader that I understand that this is ridiculous. And that somehow makes it fine again.
Right.
Actually, in the very beginning of Sinister Love, a character I love writing is actually Rotworm. And in the beginning, he's doing all this exposition, and I realize he knows this. So at one point he goes, what am I, exposition? Like, literally just says it out loud.
Why, yes, sir, you are.
Oh, he doesn't say exposition. He becomes quite nasty.
Ah. Gotcha. Cash, you got a question? You're there.
Do we have a question? If your manuscript became sentient,
God.
what would it accuse you of?
Overplotting.
Fair.
My books tend to be somewhat dense. I don't like putting fluff in it. And I subscribe to something they call it scene and sequel. I actually think it's better called action and reaction. It keeps the pace going. And so everything just becomes really dense. And I'm working on it. I'm getting better. But yeah, that might be it.
Okay, I do have a question. Gonna go totally out of left field. What character would you trust with your car? And conversely, is there one that you wouldn't trust with your car?
Well, again, Fire Mage I would not trust with my car. But her head is literally on fire, so trust with my car. It will probably be Amanda, who's the love interest / she actually becomes one of the main characters in Fate and Fortune. She's probably one of the more mature characters.
Very, very interesting. Okay. Trying to figure out exactly how to word. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what do you think you're chosen for?
I was for a long time, for about 5 years, a board game reviewer. I would love to do that again. I'm also starting to get gigs as an audiobook narrator. So I'd love to keep doing that, or being a voice actor. Yeah, it'd be a creative field still. I'm too creative. I mean, ADHD and hyperphantasia kind of forces it on me.
Completely fair.
I mean, I might even go with musician. I've taught myself how to fingerpick guitar.
Okay, speaking of that audio narration, do you find that there is a voice that you can't do, or a voice style that you absolutely cannot do?
Um, yeah. Uh, it's hard to do. I mean, I'm a guy. It is hard to do women in general. Um, Certain accents are extremely difficult. I had to do a Slavic accent, and I had to do a lot of research into getting that one right. And I still had to like post up things in my studio that were like, remember, it's always a hard L, and things like that. Um, and so, yeah, I'm still new to it, so I'm sure there are going to be some I run across that I will not be able to do.
Cool.
Okay. Usually by this part of the show, we ask you to ask us some questions. If you have anything that you would like to ask us, or uh, you know, just kind of going with it.
What is the name of your cat?
Oh, this one's Stormy.
Stormy.
She is my bonded familiar. Hence the reason that she politely, not so politely, sat over here and bought me a couple of times before. I'm like, all right, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I assume you both have cats.
Izzy is known as the crazy cat lady.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Hey, on a technicality, 4 of them are mine. 2 of them belong to my youngest son, and 1 of them belongs to my middle child. So, technically, but who pays the bills?
Who does all the work? Yeah.
And does all the work.
Oh, I know.
No, not all the work. I very rarely have to scoop a litter box.
Oh yeah, that's right. They actually do their chores.
Very
we've
nice.
One robot, and then every Sunday night when trash night comes, they're cleaning them out, or
That's right. You have kids who actually do their chores.
well, it helps they're 21 and 23. So
Yeah, there's a
There's-
decade difference between our kids.
they are somewhat an adult. But I want to say the oldest cat, Tortitude back here, Star.
My favorite was a Tortie.
Yeah.
I miss her.
Tortitude. Tortitude. She's turning 7 in July, and she's the eldest. So we have everything from 7 years of age down to 2. So, Mike, you good, baby girl?
I think she fell off the bed.
She fell off the bed. It's okay, baby. It's okay.
She's like, nobody saw that. It's fine.
Yeah.
So-
We're looking at another decade at least of all this.
Do you how do you handle ADHD?
Well, I am unmedicated, as we can see. I squirrel a lot, but a lot of it has been dietary changes. There are certain things that I will not eat. Fun fact: if I have sparkling white grape juice, I behave as though I'm drunk with a BAC of 0. Same thing with red food dye. So I don't, those come out for special occasions. But pretty much I just, it was a lot of, while I was on medication, trying to develop good habits. I keep a journal. I found the bullet journaling method, and have worked with that. But of course, if it's not pretty, I'm not going to use it. So I also do the bullet journal crafting stuff, and keeps me engaged with the journal. But I also am not opposed to, like, if I'm struggling a lot. When I went to college at age 34, I went to the doc and I said, I need to go back on meds because I'm trying to raise kids, be a wife, do a full-time job and full-time in college. I need meds. So I went back on them. And Julie doesn't have the diagnosis. I'm just telling her she is.
Well, I am the diagnosis that I do have. I have severe clinical depression, severe
Yep.
clinical anxiety.
Yep.
I
Those are all
have,
comorbid.
yeah. At one time, I thought I had multiple personality disorder. I said, "You just don't like my attitude." Uh, so we were just there on that. But mostly, I'm an unmedicated bipolar. So everybody, I'm like, "No, it's just a bipolar." Izzy's like, "No, no, we can tell when your bipolar's acting up, but
Yeah.
I'm unmedicated across the board, and I have been unmedicated since I was shit. Aries was 18 months old. I had to come off the meds because I kept going into autopilot, and that is not safe when you're behind the wheel for more than 45 minutes, one way. And I went on autopilot at work, almost drove my forklift through the side of a truck, and I was like, you know what? I'm walking away. I'm gonna go in here. I downed 2.5 kickstarts, went back out there, finished my job. Thank God we were at the end of the night. And I had 2 buddies follow me home, came home, flushed the meds. Like, I'm done.
Wow. Yeah.
So I can't say I can't be meted. It's just, it doesn't work for me. I control it the best way I can, whether that's emotionally or I kill off a character.
That can be cathartic.
It really can be, especially when you've drawn and quartered one, and then instead of just having it around their limbs, you also have one around their neck and a very protruding part of their body.
I was reading a side comment, and I came back in at drawn and quartered, and I went, "Whoa! I'm gonna have to watch that on playback." Foggy actually asks another question of Spencer. Regarding your novellas, do you find your goalposts to be character-driven more so than plot relevance versus your larger projects?
I usually have the plots that are already part of the characters. They're the same thing for the little novellas. I can't separate them because in that one it's a character study, really. For the longer ones, it's usually plot, but you can use something called character arcs. You literally just take a character's starting point, the ending point you want for that particular plot, and you put where everything happens. You can then line them all up and find out what scenes you have, and then you can make all that make the plot go forward. And so that way you're having the characters driving the plot. There's just so many tools you can do. It's crazy. But yeah, for those, I would say they're pretty much the same thing. Do you guys know about hyperphantasia? Do you know if you have it?
I keep hearing the word, but I don't think I really have retained the definition.
It's someone who has a very robust imagination. It's the opposite of aphantasia. The idea is, can you imagine an apple? All of the apple. So my son has aphantasia and can only imagine bits and pieces of the apple. With hyperphantasia, I'm like, okay, I'll give you the orchard. I'll give you the life story of the guy who's currently picking the apple, and you can smell it, and you've got the bees going around and all of that.
Yep.
No problem.
I know that one. I guess that's
But the problem is the way you can really tell are its negatives. People don't usually tell. I get something called hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations. When you're going to sleep or waking up, you can hallucinate. And that can also turn into sleep paralysis, which I also get. The very first time this happened, it was my first ever lucid dream. And then my dream was like, well, I'm going to be real then. And so when I woke up, I couldn't move, and the demon was literally still standing there and went, "Ah, I'm going to go kill your children now," and walked out the door of my bedroom. And I couldn't move, and it looked 100% real, and my brain hates me. So if that thing happens to you, you might have hyperphantasia.
I can't say that's ever happened to me, but I did have a very lucid dream about an event that actually came true.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
About 12 to 16 hours before MP showed up at my door to tell me that my first fiance was,
Wow.
and I already knew. And everybody's like, "You couldn't have possibly known." And I'm sitting there like, I know what I saw. Like, I know what I saw. I've
I
had very, very deja vu, but I'm with the dyslexia that I have. I see everything 3D. Like, if I'm talking to you about a character, I can tell you what their hair color. Izzy calls it my dossier. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at it.
Well, and I've always said if you need to have that dossier, write the dossier. But the dossier does not go in your exposition, right? There is that. Because if it's a romance novel, unless it's a cop romance, you don't really need a dossier of standing 5'2", 130 pounds, that sort of thing. But it is a good idea to have that off to the side, so that way when you go to put some kind of description in there, wait,
Yeah.
was it waist length red hair or was it shoulder length red hair?
Why is it anime characters always have a blood type?
Why is it always RH negative?
And the hero's usually AB.
It's a personality trait.
Yeah, or the BMTI or whatever the hell it is now.
Yeah.
I could go down that road, but then we're going to go down into my little plushies on there. So let's not go there. If we want to know, we can have a conversation.
I once had a dream where I woke up, I had my entire school day, I did my homework, I went to bed. Then when I actually woke up, I thought it was the next day. And I was halfway through class going, what the hell's going on here? Why are we in the wrong class?
Oh, God.
No, like, I have another day to my week this week? Oh.
I remember waking up one time and going, oh my God, I'm late for work. And I'm running around and I'm getting ready and I'm in my work clothes. And my kid comes down and he goes, Mom, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm late for work. Like, I'm totally late for work. I'm not even going to bother texting my boss. And they're like, so you haven't texted your boss yet? I go, no, I haven't. Like, I'm just going to show up late. I'm just going to deal with it. And they're like, good, because it's Sunday and you don't work. I'm like, oh, I'm going back to bed.
I woke up. I think it was about 6 months pregnant with Aries. I woke up, cussed at my mom. How could she let me be late for school? And I was searching for my boots. I was searching for my leather, my backpack. My mom's just standing there with a cup of coffee in her hand, like she's going to stop any minute and I'm going to laugh. And eventually it was like, why are you just standing there? You're going to have to drive me. And she's like, Julie, how old are you? I'm 28. She's like, okay, so we know baseline. She's like, what year is it? And I'm like, shut up. She's like, on top of that, it's Sunday, like,
yeah.
I'm like, just add insult to injury there, Red. She did give me the coffee cup. She was nice.
There we go. All right. Any other questions for us or the audience or? for my impromptu
This is what the downside of me living 10 minutes away from you.
I don't consider it a downside. At least you're not 1,500 miles away anymore.
Yeah, true.
I have my twin fashions as an identical
Oh.
twin.
We were talking about that earlier.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are things like my favorite one is twin fashion number like 7. I don't know. What's it like not being a twin?
Oh.
Everyone asks, what's it like being a twin?
You know what? I don't have anybody I can blame anything else on. My personality, well split, also means that I have to take more responsibility for my fucking actions. And by the time I'm done, I can't blame anybody for drinking my coffee.
I assume
Oh.
it's the exact opposite of growing up as only child.
As an identical twin, I have a full set of spare parts.
Oh, so does my sister, because we're the same blood type and genetic match. But my sister has the same thing. It's just we're not twins.
Oh, damn.
If you punch me, my brother will not feel it, but you will when I punch you back.
Well, and
Yeah,
I always
have a whole
said
bunch of these.
people have always said, thank God that you're not a twin. I go, I know this world could not handle another one of me. I am already chaotic and unhinged enough. Like, cannot. When I was 41, I met my older half sister, who was 45 at the time. And she met me for coffee. I figured 45 minutes for a coffee date, this first time meeting. 6 hours later, it turned out we had so much in common. We had actually grown up in very similar backgrounds. She had a stepfather who was a pastor. I had an adoptive mother who was a church secretary. We grew up listening to the same bands, the same groups, the same whatever. We were finishing each other's sentences by the time the 6 hours was done. And I'm like, I went back and I told all my friends, I said, remember how I always said we're lucky there isn't another one of me? And they're like, yeah. And I go, I'm the cheap knockoff.
My brother and I, we never wore vests. It wasn't a thing we were aware of. And then one day I go to visit him and he's wearing a vest and I'm wearing a vest. We're like, what? And then another thing that happens is we forget to tell people that we're an identical twin because we grew up. He was right there. You kind of knew. But now he's, 800 miles away. So I went to visit him when he was graduating and I took his hat and I put it on and I pretended to be him while he walked up the other side and just totally freaked out his friends. It was fun.
That's hilarious.
That is. Foggy's got another question. Spencer, what's your favorite aspect of world building?
Ooh, good one.
Oh, I kind of like figuring out the governments, because there's just so much that it trickles down into so many things. So I can also play around with the government. Like right now, I have one. This dwarven society is ruled by committees, so all of the committees are also just slightly overlapping. So you automatically have some checks and balances going on, and they have this system of hierarchy where you have different stripes that you would wear, and if it's a green stripe, then you would live in different housing, and you would get different stuff. The higher up, the more successful you're being. If you do something amazing, you get tenured and you get a blue stripe. And then that's a different system. You're higher up and you can't go down as far. And all of this stuff.
Kind of like Divergent.
I've never seen Divergent, never read it. And that's something that happens all the time is you like, oh yeah, that's another book. I'm like, I've never read that book.
Well, I will admit, I've never read the book. I watched the movies. That's because I didn't know that were actual books until I watched the first movie, and then somebody's like, no, that's a book series. I'm like, Okay, now I got to read it to find out what they left out.
Yep.
So that was my whole thing. We got one other question from the comments. Any of your characters move into your head and bully you to write?
It would probably be Surly. She is the little digital assistant, and she's snarky, and yeah, she would know exactly what buttons to push.
I guess in this aspect, I am the lovingly bullying person in our group that says, "Hi, we haven't heard from you in a minute. I need proof of life in 500 words."
She would be more like, guess you're not really serious. I know.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, she'd know how to push the buttons.
That's more than pushing buttons. That's hitting you where it hurts.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the challenge.
All right. Actually, I think that's all we got for you tonight. If
Awesome.
you got
I
any,
enjoyed this.
thank you very much. Everybody, thank you for showing up. We've been on for about an hour and a half. Thank you for showing up for the Booked for Friday. If you know anybody who is an author, narrator, publicist, anybody who helps us get our shit onto the fucking page, that's what we need. We need you to tell us, or at least send them the damn link to get them over here. This is what we do. All right. Remember, tomorrow night we have the Hold My Pen Promptcast. Right now, I think we have 5 entries. Everybody has until 3:00 Central Time tomorrow to get there. In I said 3.
Yeah, I was visually.
Oh, you were visually. I'm like, I said 3. Did I say me?
I was Vanna Whiting with a
Gotcha.
cat in my lap.
With the cat. Okay. But yeah, everybody has until 3:00 tomorrow to have your submissions in. Otherwise, keep your asses out of fucking jail. It's Friday night. I'm not bailing you out. I love you. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Here, I'll get out of the way so you can.